In search of time P. P like present and past. Yesterday, in the subway, I saw a woman who was wearing a kind of very quaint dress, old-fashioned but elegant. And that dress was red, and she had a matching bag and matching shoes. All of them were color, light strawberry color. And that reminded me of my mother, who was not interested in fashion. And unfortunately, I inherited from her a distaste for anything linked to apparel. Unlike my father, who was very elegant and loved dressing, and even when he was very old, he used to wear, for instance, a vest, kind of mustard yellow vest, and always a suit and a tie. He said that when he was young, he wanted to dress to to attract people, and when he was old, he was still dressing not to displease people. So the lack of taste of my mother for apparel and different colors was obvious when we were children. One day, one of my brother, who was interested at a very young age in dressing, noticed that my younger sister was 6 and he was 8, was with us, and we were going to take the bus with my mother. And he refused to go with us because he said, "Wow, you have dressed my sister like a parrot," because she was wearing a kilt in green with yellow and red, and a sweater which was, I don't know, gray and pink socks and all that. So he refused to follow us. And recently I had a link with my past, with colors, when after having met my boyfriend, not for a long time, I had the idea, after having bought what I thought a very nice violin, mauve sweatshirt, to have matching pantyhose. So this mauve color didn't please that much my boyfriend, who said immediately, "Oh, don't wear that anymore, I really hate that." So I agreed, because I do everything my boyfriend wants. At least it's what I think. He disagrees, but it's what I think. And never wore that pantyhose again. But I kept it, and each time we have a kind of dispute, I said, "If you go on like that, I'll wear that pair of pantyhose." All these little stories of day-to-day life lead us to a very famous part and text in Search of Lost Time, in the Guermantes way. The scene appears when the narrator is at the residence of the Duke and Duchess of Guermantes, and Swann is there too. And Swann had just announced to the Duchess, his friend, that he will die soon because he has an incurable disease. So I'll read you the scene. Madame de Guermantes advanced resolutely towards the carriage and uttered a last farewell to Swann. "You know, we'll talk about that another time. I don't believe a word you have been saying, but we must discuss it quietly. I expect they have frightened you quite unnecessarily. Come to luncheon any day you like." With Madame de Guermantes, things always resolved themselves into luncheons. Just let me know the day and the time. And, lifting a red skirt, she set her foot on the step. She was just getting into the carriage when, seeing this foot exposed, the Duke cried out in terrifying voice, "Oriane, what have you been thinking of, you wretch? You've kept on your black shoes with a red dress. Go upstairs quick and put on red shoes, or rather," he said to the footman, "tell Madame la Duchesse lady's maid at once to bring down a pair of red shoes." "But, my dear," replied the Duchess gently, embarrassed to see that Swann, who was leaving the house with me, but had stood back to allow the carriage to pass out in front of us, had heard. "Seeing that we are late—" "No, no, we have plenty of time. It's only 10 to. It won't take us 10 minutes to get to the Parc Monceau. And after all, what does it matter? Even if we turn up at 8:30, they'll wait for us. But you can't possibly go there in a red dress and black shoes. Besides, we shan't be the last. I can tell you the Sassenagers are coming, and you know they never arrive before 9:20. The Duchess went up to her room. "Well," said Mr. de Guermantes to Swann and myself, "people laugh at us poor downtrodden husbands, but we have our uses. But for me, Oriane would have gone out to dinner in black shoes." "It's not unbecoming," said Swann. "I noticed the black shoes, and they didn't offend me in the least." "I don't say you are wrong," replied the Duke, "but it looks better to have been to match the dress. Besides, you need not worry. No sooner had you got there than she'd have noticed them, and I should have been obliged to come home and fetch the others. I should have had my dinner at 9 o'clock. Goodbye, my boys," he said.